and then there will be little balls growing on each one of them, and those are the fruit. Last year I tried to propagate it for the first time, grow it, and we were reading all about it, and the best descriptions were of people in India and East Asia that are growing it. Bird right here, that's a Pacific golden plover. He's actually a seabird, and they fly every year in about 2 or 3 days, over 3,000 miles. They go up in the airstream. This little tiny bird, he gets all the way to Alaska, and they spend the summers. He just came back. So they spend the summers in Alaska, come back, they mate here, and they always come back to these like open areas, and they come to the same places. They're quite urban, so you find them in your yard, or so it's kind of like, oh yeah, those are little fishes. They're not native. What's nice about this is you're seeing a native bird, which we don't see a lot of. But did you guys get the bird? Yeah. So we have some lovely, I don't think that's on your, is that one on your list? This is kind of my first observations of them. They've been in these big flocks, and they've been on the, is that one a Java fish? I don't know. No, it's not a Java. We have Java fish. It happens. We have green neck parrots here. Podocarps. These are older types of plants. So before flowering plants, they have a different sort of reproductive system. And this one's amazing. It's a little bit more broad-leafed. These are found in New Zealand, in Queensland, that sort of area, Australia. I think this is one of the biggest in the state, in the country. So I love those little, I love to say that. So I think we have a few of these sort of specimens. I know our cannonball tree is, and those, I don't know, I just like that. End of one, this would have been a female one, and so these are just the little fruiting bodies, and they would just distribute like a seed pod. Not like we're gonna have more cowards. Families as banana and bird of paradise. You can see the resemblance of the flower. Do you see the flower up in the top of that one? It's kind of camouflage. This is quite an exceptional collection of them. As you can see, just like palms, they'll get their full size of their canopy, and then they'll start growing a trunk. So to get a trunk that size is quite incredible. And apparently, because they're you can drink water. They hold water in there, so if you need it, you can drink. And then they decided to stop, and what they noticed after is these roots started forming these mats that you could actually see. So even though it's one of our oldest trees and it's 150 years old, this is quite fast growing for a 150-year-old tree. What that means is that the density of the wood, it's not so dense. It's quite a lighter wood. There's air in between. So one of the ways to keep stable is forming these sort of buttresses. So it really keeps it more stable, especially because with something growing this fast, it probably doesn't have the root system you would normally see from a canopy this big. And these cebas are very good at healing themselves. So all of those are old branches, and trees respond differently to wounds, and it's really an incredible healing. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's a whole, these are really important for spider monkeys. They'll live in a whole, and I think they did a study in over 200 species can live off of one of these sort of trees. If you look up, I mean, I wouldn't mind living my life in that. If you notice, or if you're staying near the ocean, any drives, you'll probably notice these trees. The little hint is that they usually have an orange or red leaf around, so you can see these. And then the rose beetle eats some of the leaves like that. The only difference would be that the size of the trees would be a fraction of this size. So imagine this one shrunken down, and you probably see it on your drives while you're around. It was introduced, and it naturalizes here. I wouldn't call it invasive, it's just part of especially the coastal region in the world, is from this talipot palm. If you see it behind, it has the biggest trunk, and then it has all those berry-looking things at the top. Do you see that? That's one entire flower. Do you guys see what I'm pointing at? So, well, now it's a fruit, but it was one entire flower. Now it's a ton of thousands and thousands of fruit, and it does one big dropping of all the fruit. And then I gotta run and collect some and make sure we have some. That one was planted in 1967. It's monocarpic, just like that agave. So it means it's gonna die after it flowers. So it spends all this time growing, putting off this incredible flower, and then one chance to reproduce, and that's it. So it's just a good example of how there's different ways of doing it. We have one right next to it that was planted at the same time, so that would probably be our next one. And then right here in front of us, with the small little fruits on the top, the fruit-looking thing, that's our coco de mer. That's the palm tree from the Seychelles. It's the rarest coconut in the world. This is a female, so it has trees that are female and trees that are male. Those are actually female flowers, those little mini fruit. And since we only had a female, we wanted to propagate it about 10 years ago. And gardens have been trying, but we were able to get pollen from a male in Singapore. So they collected pollen in Singapore, put it on a desiccant, something to keep it dry and cool, flew it over here overnight, and they tried to pollinate it. Failed. Tried again, failed. Third time they tried it, and it was the perfect time. All those flowers were receptive. One of our propagators was able to pollinate. They got 8 fruit. And there are these nuts, these giant nuts. You're going to go see them. They sat on that tree for 6 years, growing. My colleague had a child, and she was 6 years old when they took those fruit off the ground, off the tree. And then they germinated them in garbage bags, because the initial root is the radical that tries to shoot down. It was almost a meter long. So then we planted 7 or 8 of them, and I think the first month I worked here, a little over a year ago, the first one brought its leaf out, and now we have 5 that germinated. So we're, fingers crossed, we have a male, and we'll be able to propagate these and help show them in the future. This one was, I think, 30 years old before it flowered, so it'll take some time. I probably won't be working here anymore, I don't know. So twins, but only one comes out and is a viable twin. So this one, when they planted it, it was flat on the ground, but as the leaf was popping up, it moved it up like this. we're still hoping on that one and that one there.
How old did you say this was?
So the leaf coming out, about 16 months.
And how long ago was the nut planted?
The nut was planted, I think it took about, so it was germinated in a garbage bag, and then I think about 5 months after. So 5 months back, giant specimens of this at our Cocoa Crater Botanical Garden. We have a whole African section there. So right now, because they're fruiting, there's this whole area that's just a canopy of giant sausage fruits. And then on the note of giant fruits, we're in between two cannonball trees. So these are often cultivated in botanical gardens. This one happens to be the biggest one in the U.S. And it's flowering, and you can see some fruit. So you see that's why it's called a cannonball tree. And what happens is it drops, it sounds really loud, opens up, and then as it oxidizes, the fruit flesh turns blue. It's really interesting. Maybe I'll be able to find one over there. So then as you can see, the variety of the colors, we have a lighter pink variety and then a darker maroon variety there. This has a really interesting technique when you just pluck a flower tree. So this plant, without being anthropomorphic, got really smart and has a technique to trick its pollinators. So it looks like this is where they're supposed to go, that these are the real flowers because they're so bright and complementary, right, with the purple and yellow. So the bee goes in and turns around and goes to get nectar from here, but really he's rubbing his back on the male flowers right here, getting the pollen, and then right in here is the female receptive area, and that's where the pollen has to go. So it found a really unique way to get it to be pollinized. They smell incredible. I want to get out from there, I'm afraid. Here, does anybody want to hold it and feel how heavy these cannonballs are?
Wow.
One side is a lot cleaner.
Oh yeah, you
warm.
want one of those people that
And then I'm just going to break one open. But you can see the blue there. So there's this red, and maybe so it takes about an hour. Whew. Anybody want to smell that? It's a fermenting sort of.
Yeah, I'm not liking that.
No,
Musky.
but I am seeing a little bit of color change. Oh my God, that is strong now.
Woo!
That had a different.
I got a good whiff of
Hey,
that one.
if you guys feel like walking back here
Stick your nose all the way in.
after the end of this, I think this will be like that. And we'll put it over here. Kind of smells peppery.
Yeah.
Woo! That is strong. Here. So they're cut, and then all these little resprouts that's that's where you get that rolled up.
Wow.
It's like these young stems. I was always amazed by that. I never knew that. So we have like the Arabica, and then it's a big cash crop here now, you know, in Big Island and Kona coffee, that sort of thing. We have really a good environment for it. So here are the berries, and they go from yellow, they're yellowish to red. And so what happens, the berries are edible, and there's this kind of yummy, fleshy thing around it. But here are the two seeds, and now you can recognize them dried and roasted.
Coffee.
Coffee.
Interesting.
And it just pops out like this. We have some coffee, and my daughters love to do that all day long. Oh, that one has some grubs in it. So yeah, it's fruiting a lot. They do have an issue with twig borer. So you'll see dead branches completely. And it's a pest that's boring in. Let's sneak into our world-class tree forest, the vine. But as you see, it's gone up all the way up, and it's fruiting right now. So here are the peppercorns, right here, and they'll turn red when they're ripe. And I just learned this. Let me go and double check. The peppercorn. Yeah, peppercorns. So it's the biggest sort of global spice. Piper nigrum, black pepper. Its native range is Madagascar, Sri Lanka, South India, and the peppercorn is the dried berry. Now they make white and the red ripe berries are washed and dried to make the white peppercorn, and then the green unripe ones are cooked and dried to make black pepper. The Garden of the Year or some nice award. It's a great representation of cycads and prehistoric plants. Do you guys want to walk through here and check it out, or do you want to skip it and finish up in the
Is it
shade?
shaded through there?
It's not as shaded. It's short, but
What do you guys want to do?
you guys can. Let's go this way. I can tell. Let's go to the baobab. So again, it grows more wide than up, and apparently in South Africa, they're so big they're able to gouge, like clear out. What happens is when they get really old, portions of it kind of slough out, like almost it's foamy inside, like not foamy, but it's so not dense, so that it still stays alive, but has these hollowed out areas. And one in South Africa was so big they made a pub out of it, and it could fit about 9 to 12 people. And if you look up baobabs, you'll find it. And actually it was weird, in the past couple years, it's not weird, but a lot of them are dying. They're rare. They live to be about 1,500 years old. They can. So I don't know if they're all hitting their age all at the same time, but there was about 10 or 12 that died last year, and that's kind of a big thing. They expand as they get wet, so when it rains, it's pretty incredible. You watch it, it just looks like it's alive, you know, it's swelling, and you can look, it looks like a elephant leg.
It kind of does anyway. Yeah, that's what
It
I was
does.
thinking.
It's very like motion. There's a lot of motion, and you could imagine that elephants would rub up against it, and so it does fit its role. They call it the dead rat tree also, and it's a good time. You can see actually the flowers are hanging down these long sort of peduncles. I just saw one. African. It's rare. This one's the biggest in the United States. But that's incredible because to see all this branching occurring. This bottom one was planted in the 70s. So it is very slow growing. It's just getting its canopy. It hasn't even started a trunk. So you could imagine how long it takes to get to that. I just gave one to the Honolulu Zoo. We grow them. We get, I can collect the fruit, and we have lepis. I don't know the species of this one, but these are carnivorous. So this acts like a pitcher, collects water, and then captures insects, and it just slowly decomposes, and they're able to reabsorb minerals that way. Here's an old inflorescence, and here, old, and all I see are female flowers. I'm so curious. I would like to get, oh no, these are all male flowers, my bad. They have pollen on each end of these. Here's a tiny different variety. Malaysia, Southeast Asia. These are growing in Burma, in the forests. Spider orchids, you can see why they would call them that. They fruited just a few months ago, the variegated bananas. And I didn't get to try one. I don't know where it went. These coleus, you guys know coleus, they're just gorgeous varieties. They grow amazing here. And here's the Amorphophallus titanum. They have an amazing ecology, life ecology. They initiate every year, so they're dormant underground. This looks like an empty pot for a lot of the year, and then it either initiates as a leaf, and look how big this beautiful single leaf is, and that sticks around for a while. This is getting old, so it's gonna just die out. And here we just got a note from the horticulturist this morning. This initiated into a flower. So sometimes they can't tell this part is connected, that's not out yet, and they can't tell whether it's going to be a leaf or a flower. Well, now that it's doing this, it's starting to heat up really fast, and it's going to start to increase its growth. This is the latest we've ever had one bloom, and it gets pretty publicized, and people come through and we stay open. It starts smelling at night, so it starts pulsing out its smell. It opens for about 48 hours. I'm sure you've seen there's all sorts of time